Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. You're listening to In the Company of Charity podcast by the Daughters of Charity. And this is Sister Liz, and I'm here with Sister Elizabeth. Hello, dear. Where are you these days?
I am in Albany, New York, at our what was a former provincial house, now one of the campuses of the province. We have them in Emmitsburg and Evansville and St. Louis and here in Albany. And I am so excited to be here because it is fall, autumn. The trees are gorgeous.
And
gorgeous,
she's been
gorgeous.
leaf peeping, people.
I was going to say, I have been leaf peeping and it's sweater weather.
It's sweater weather.
It's sweater weather and I'm leaf peeping and I am feeling in my element, let me tell you. I mean, my accent is probably going to be really thick when I come back, as though it's not normally, but it's, yeah, I'm telling you, I just, like, I think one of the gospel antiphon, what the gospel acclamation was, "Hot not your hot." I was so excited. And the sister said it, and I was like, oh, I just love it. But it's been cool, cold weather, and the leaves are absolutely beautiful.
You sound and look holier even than the last time we talked.
Yeah.
You having been in retreat.
I've been in retreat, a private retreat, so it's been fun and thoughtful because I wasn't with a group of sisters this time. It just didn't quite work out this time, but I was here. I loved being here with the sisters at St. Louise and the sisters from DePaul who live in this house together, big house. And it's been great to be around sisters and to have mass every day right in the house at 11 o'clock. Oh, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Yeah. So it's been a great retreat. It was a great retreat. But time to go home, get back to work.
Yes, the sisters, we love our little time with Jesus. Every year we do that 8 days of silence. And then it's time to get busy, get back to work.
That's right. Day 9, you can't stop talking, Tell everybody what happened.
I know the feeling.
Yeah. So while I have been in holy retreat, communing with God, talk to us about who you've been communing with. What's your life like?
Listen, we have been tooling around, Sister Jean Rhodes and myself, doing vocation ministry. We've been to Catholic University. We've been to Franciscan University at Steubenville. We were in Ocean City for a Eucharistic Congress with the Diocese of Wilmington, which was an absolute blast, and a lot of Spanish speakers. So I got to flex my little Spanish speaking muscle for a minute. And gosh, it's been fun. My home base coming back to Baltimore, just hanging out with some college students from UMBC, which is University of Maryland, Baltimore County. And I'm headed to visit some students at Towson tomorrow. So,
wow,
hanging out with a lot of young people.
You're rocking it, girl. Yeah.
There's nothing like talking about Jesus and talking about the charism of the service of those in need and service of the poor. So it's it's
talking
been
about
fun.
Your favorite podcast.
Talking about listen to our podcast, people. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, get on there. And it really,
that's great. That's really exciting. Yeah.
The cool thing about this episode that everybody's going to hear with Sister Rocio, what a delightful young lady. You know her better than I do, and it just brings me back to that first fervor, of the values and mission of the Daughters of Charity from someone who just soaked it all in there with you in the seminary, learning from you and being formed by God. So
that's right. Formed by God.
Just a lovely episode.
God is the first formator. Yeah, she is an absolute delight, as all of our seminary sisters are. She's one of them as well. And so, through the times when they were in the seminary, I would refer to as the seminary sisters and not name them for their own privacy. And but now she's out. She's a little bit more public, and I said to her, "So, Sister Rocio, we have got to talk about this because she really, she is the most recent sister sent on mission. But now Sister Catherine Barquette has been sent on mission as well. But Sister Rocio has been the most recent one sent to Santa Barbara, and Santa Barbara is one of the first 3 missions that the Daughters of Charity back in the 1800s opened. So we're kind of starting at the at the most recent experience of the mission in Santa Barbara. But we're going to talk with the archivist soon as part of the California Heritage series this season. I'm really, really excited about it, and talking with her made it even more real for me to see the amazing things that the sisters have done there over the years, the many, many years, but also still responding to the current needs of the poor. And she's definitely involved in that, and you'll hear about her work and some of the really innovative and amazing things that she's gotten involved in just the 6 months that she's been out on mission. So it's very exciting.
I absolutely love. Listen for the intergenerational program that she's working on. Sounds really neat. I think it's a beautiful thing to get the elders together with the little ones, and I think everybody wins in that sense. So
yeah. So everyone enjoy it because she's a great listen. She's just a wonderful new sister out on mission, and we're very proud of her. And it just gives you great hope for the future of the company.
Hi, everyone. This is Sister Elizabeth, and you are listening to In the Company of Charity, the podcast of the Daughters of Charity. And I'm Sister Elizabeth, and I am here with what was once a previously unnamed seminary sister, is now a sister who was recently sent on mission about 6 months ago from the seminary, and her name is Sister Rocio Briones. Sister Rocio, I'm so glad you're here.
Hi, I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me, and it's an honor to be part of the podcast for today.
Yeah, well, thank you for saying yes. I know it's not always easy to say yes to a podcast. Some people love it. Other people get very shy, and I know that you're not necessarily the shyest person, but speaking on a podcast can be difficult. So you are, at this moment, the most recent sister sent on mission for your province, which is really exciting. And you're from the province of St. Elizabeth and Seton, which is predominantly in the western part of the country, including the most exciting place, Alaska. And you left the seminary back in March, and now you're out on mission for 6 months. Today we will be celebrating, as we speak, this day we will be celebrating October 5th, the sending on mission of a new sister, Sister Catherine, who will be, we don't know yet where Sister Catherine is going. It's kind of an exciting time. And I just remember being here 6 months ago when we were sending you on mission and the excitement of that time. So tell us about where you were sent and what you're doing.
The excitement is like, I'm remembering all the things that I did, and it was like, it wasn't so long ago, I was just here myself. And so I've been sent to St. Vincent's in Santa Barbara. It's a mission that's been there since 1858, and they have done a lot of different kinds of missions there. Currently, we have housing for low-income families. We have housing for low-income seniors. We have a program for single moms and their children under 5 years old. It's a transitional housing for up to 22 months. And then we also have a daycare. And last but not least, we have a navigation center for the homeless, the Father Virgil Cordano Center. And I am in a little bit of, I've been kind of a little experimental in all of the different kinds of ministries that we are, but I'm mostly focused in the Father Virgil Cordano Center as a case manager. And as well as with the seniors, we're doing a pilot program for the it's an intergenerational program, which brings the children from the daycare come over to visit the seniors, and they have little activities together, and so they can form relationship and have moments to bond and just have a good time for like 20 minutes. It's really, really a very exciting little activity to get to do. So
yeah, it's really exciting. Some who've been listening to the podcast know that I was just out in California a couple of months ago, and was just touring to get a sense of the history of the province. The sisters starting from Emmitsburg, coming through the Panama Canal, very dangerous, in the 1850s, 1852. It's the first mission in San Francisco, and Santa Barbara, I think, is kind of the other of the three, also Los Angeles and then Santa Barbara. At that point, there was the train service from east to the west, and so travel became much easier.
Yes.
But prior to that, the sisters who really began the work out here in California were real pioneers. I mean, they were entering into country, they're coming from Emmitsburg, Philadelphia, Maryland area, not knowing anything about the Wild West that they were about to enter. And yet here we are, 2024, and a new sister being sent on mission to a mission that was opened in 1858, still doing the work of a daughter of charity, but responding constantly to the needs of the poor. Mm-hmm. It's such a great witness, I think, to the spirit of our charism, which is certainly not to just do one thing. We're not just teachers, we're not just social workers, but we are responders. We're responders to the needs of the poor. And I think it's very exciting that the Father Virgil Center is kind of the newest mission, mm-hmm. correct? In
yes.
this. So tell me a little bit about the center. You call it a navigation center. I love that term.
Yes. I think that's like a new term that we learned, that it's like we have the day-to-day services. We provide them breakfast and lunch. They can wash their clothes. We have a sister that does haircuts and wound care in the center. As well as we have the case managing, we do a lot of referrals to other services in the area. If they need, we sign them up for housing, for Medi-Cal, for government benefits, anything that or just day-to-day, like things that they need, clothes, shoes, toiletries. But they come to us specifically for the environment that we provide for them, which is a place where they can just be themselves. They don't have to worry about keeping themselves safe. There's a place where they can just relax, eat, and sleep. We have these recliner chairs where they sit, and a lot of them just they were out all day or out all night, and they just need a place to relax and sleep. And we they definitely feel like it's like a nice little environment of family, of a nice communal place. And a lot of Santa Barbara is a smaller city, so everyone kind of knows everybody, and so they all know each other. Everyone's attentive when someone's not there, so they're like, oh, so and so isn't here. And we notice too, and we know who to ask too, as well as like, oh, why isn't so and so here? And they're like, oh, they're doing something else, or so it's very, very communal. And my favorite thing to do there is to sit on that recliner chair and just have something to drink with them, and like we have coffee or water, and we're just like having a little conversation and getting to know each other. There's this one member, he has a really good memory, and so he likes to recite poems sometimes, and so sometimes I just sit next to him and I'm like, hey, like, what's the poem of the day? And then there's this other guy who just likes to show me memes that he finds online. But I think that's the beauty of it. We have the services so they can have day-to-day things that they need, but they also need conversation. You have your friends, you have people that you talk with, and they know that when they come to the center, that's something they can do, and sometimes and then there's those that are more quiet and more to themselves, and they can do that too. So but everyone is very friendly, and I have reflected how when they come to the center, they don't have to have that protectiveness that they do out on the street, because they know that we take them as they are, and they know that because they tell us, they're like, I come back because I know that I'm loved here, like, and they know that we see them just as they are, and we love them just as they are, and they're not gonna, of course we want the best for them, but there's moments where you're not always at your best, and we still take you back. We're like, here, take a seat, you're welcome to this space.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. I love when you're talking about the recliners, everyone loves a good recliner, and to fall asleep. And, I worked in other homeless centers and discovered pretty quickly the contentment and the safety that somebody feels in order to actually fall asleep, because it's such a vulnerable thing to do, to really let your guard down so much that you fall asleep. So that's a sign for sure that somebody feels safe and accepted and respected, that no one has to be ashamed of who they are or what they may be involved in, but that they can come and just be honest, be their authentic selves, and enjoy the camaraderie, but also be able to have those services taken care of that they need, which we all need taken care of. But the Daughters of Charity don't run the center by themselves. No. So there's a very unique quality that actually also dates back to the 1800s of the work that you do in Santa Barbara. So tell us a little bit about that.
The Father Virgil Cordano Center was a project that we started with collaboration with the Franciscan Friars. They have the old mission there, and so when we were planning all of this, we made sure to coordinate with them, and so the Franciscan Friars are also part of the collaboration, so they also come and volunteer. They come and visit the members, and they love it. The members also love to have conversations with them, have theological debates sometimes with them, and but the novitiate is also here in Santa Barbara. So the novices from the Franciscan Friars, the OFMs, they come once a week and they volunteer there, and then the Franciscan Capuchins also come and volunteer on Fridays as well. And so it's beautiful to see all the different orders that come, like these two different orders. We get to share the same mission of being there for the people in need. And these are our homeless brothers and sisters, and they we get to share ourselves, share our faith, and also like have a good time. It's beautiful to see all of us together, and for me it's like I get to spend time with these men who are also in formation, like I'm also in formation, and I just came out of the seminary, the novitiate, and so I get to kind of also have my own conversations with them, and but we're both in the same charism of serving the poor and being with the poor. So we have that in common, and we get to work with it together, which is the best part.
Yeah, it's beautiful. When we were visiting, it really struck me how just how natural the connection was between the Daughters of Charity, especially, and the friars at the mission of Santa Barbara. We arrived, Sister Catherine and I and Sister Alicia Renee arrived, and it was like we were old friends, the friars, hey, Daughters of Charity in the house, and it was so, that was very, very, very touching to me. I know there's a lot of history. There's a Daughter of Charity who's actually buried in their cemetery,
Yes.
And which is a very kind of sacred thing. They're like, make sure you go, and see. I was like, oh, this is really very comforting to have that sense of connectedness, and. As I was there too at the Father Virgil Center, I was struck by, like, there was a little counter with art supplies, and as you were saying, somebody reciting poetry, and somebody's having their hair cut, and there was a little screened area where someone was having their a wound taken care of. And while it was all very, very respectful, and there was so much happening, there was also breakfast being served, and people using telephones, and some just kind of hanging out, a couple of people sleeping in their comfy recliners. I also thought at some point you grow out of spaces like this. And so I know you had talked a little about the ideas about expanding and what other services or what other opportunities might be coming to the folks at the Father Virgil Center within Santa Barbara, and how maybe the Daughters and the Friars and the community at large is involved in that. Can you tell us a little bit about what's beyond this? What's the vision beyond the day center, the navigation center?
The vision is obviously the need is greater, and the need is great, and so there's always more we can do. And as we know, all over the country, and especially in California, the housing crisis is huge. So we are trying to expand the navigation center so we can have more people come in. For now, seating wise in the recliners, we can have up to 32 people. And then we have also expanded with little tables so people can also eat at the table. But there's more that can come, and so we are trying to make the center bigger. We have this tiny hallway kitchen where we cook for up to 80 people or 90 people a day, and so we'll have a bigger kitchen. And then like I mentioned about the housing crisis, we're having Casa Caritas. That's what we're calling it. We're trying to expand, having studio apartments for the homeless, as well as tiny homes for the homeless. And the apartments could be permanent housing, so they'll be able to live there as long as they need. And the tiny homes are a sort of transitional while they wait for some sort of housing opportunity, but they have their own space where they can call temporary home. And we know that that's something that is highly needed for them, and that's something that they're looking for as well. They're looking for a place where they can, most of them are looking for a place because they don't want to stay in a shelter or on the street, because it's not safe. It's not enough for them, and they deserve to be in a place where they can have a roof over their head and have a place to call home. So
it's exciting to hear about what you've stepped into, what the Lord has really opened up for you in relation to the work at the Father Virgil Center. But you also do some work, and it's not necessarily one is any better than the other, but on the campus of St. Vincent, where you actually live, and where the other ministries you talked about, the low-income housing, the Center for the Elderly, and the family enrichment program. They're all on one campus, but you have a unique, almost kind of a new position there, or a new ministry, I should say, in trying to help connect the children of the women who are staying there with the elders, to create that kind of cross-generational experience, and probably for people who for the older folks that maybe don't have as much contact with their own grandchildren or great-grandchildren even, and for these young ones whose families are very vulnerable and here and may not be able to have contact with their extended family, that it kind of creates this experience. When we were there, you encouraged us to sit with these little tykes, little ones, and read to them. And my little girl, she didn't really want to read. She just wanted to look at 2 pages and go get another book. And then brought that back and looked at 2 pages, and she went and got another book. And I thought, oh, this is a challenge. But it was delightful to see that the kids so excited just to be with other people. And so tell us a little bit about that. That's a new program, so yes. I imagine it's a bit more of a challenge for you to get up and running. But how has that been going for you?
It's the children are very open, and at first, like in the beginning, it was, of course, the little kids are shy, they just want to stay with the teachers. But as the more months went on, you could tell that the kids are enjoying the interactions with the seniors, that when they arrive, and it's beautiful to just see how the way that they communicate, not with words, but they just being present, being in the present moment. And they like to just show off their art. They like to, like, most recently, one of the little things that we brought was like the little baby dolls with a little bottle and diapers, and the little ones were like, oh, it's like they were doing little activities with playing with the babies and like burping them and stuff, and it was really sweet. And then like the kids would give the babies to the teachers or to the seniors, and they would tell them they're hungry or pat them on the back, like burp them, and it was just really sweet how they interact with each other. But the seniors who come are seniors who were in education in their young adult life. Some seniors are kind of alone. They aren't afraid to just play with the kids, because I think it can be like they can feel lonely, or they can feel like disconnected because they're so little. They're like, I don't have anything to talk about with them, or I can't hear them, or they can't understand me. But they've had to kind of, in that humility, like Jesus says, like, be like these little ones, it's this vulnerability that they show with these little children as well. And it's beautiful to see how they've just, like, we kind of just come down to the same level, and you're just there with the kids, and it's just for 20 minutes, it's like a little 20-30 minute interaction, but they keep coming back. The seniors that really enjoy it, they come back and they just like, oh, this is what makes my week. This makes my week. And then the teachers as well, they question when someone doesn't show up. They're like, oh, where's so-and-so? And so the teachers as well, they would have never known each other if it wasn't for this interaction. So I think it's a social experiment that we get to do, and we all become interconnected, and we all become interconnected, and we want to share in this relationship together. So yeah.
It's I just love, as you're talking about your ministry, that we can't know in the beginning what we're being sent to. It's like, so you're going to go to Santa Barbara, and it was like, yay, Santa Barbara, and you're going to work at the Father Virgil Center, yay, and then you're going to start an intergenerational program, yay. We're never sure what this is going to be like, but I think that the beauty of what I'm hearing from you is that you've brought to this, not just to the ministries themselves, but what you bring is a sense of community, a sense that people need a place to feel safe and a place that they feel like they can give what they can and not feel feel like they're less than, but that they have something to offer, and can make that connection. I love in both places you said, somebody will say, where is so-and-so? And that sense of community, the sense of we know one another, we know where each other are, is a real sign of I think what St. Vincent and St. Louise had hoped within the charism, is that we have a sense not just of the needs, the physical needs, the needs that take food and clothing, but the emotional and the spiritual needs are also very important to St. Vincent and St. Louise.
Yes.
That you can't feed somebody without loving somebody, and the love is that connection.
Yes.
And so I really appreciate your sharing your ministries. Again, you've been there for 6 months, but it sounds like you've really entered in, and it doesn't take long. This is also a very exciting time. I know that you're someone who sees the more global, the more international character of our company. Sometimes we, as Daughters of Charity, see our province, which is in a very kind of a localized area, but we recognize there are 11,000 of us around the world, that we are in 92 countries, something enormous like that. And that can sometimes feel too big.
Yes.
But we sometimes can feel too small, and just the little things we do in our little space. So there's an exciting new ministry that's just started in Harlingen, Texas. Tell us a little bit about what you know about that. I know it's brand new, and we're all just learning.
Yeah, we're just learning in Harlingen, Texas. It's three provinces coming together, which is the province of St. Louise, the province of St. Elizabeth Antietam, and the province of Mexico. And they have come together to help the communities in the borders. And one of our sisters is there, and she is a Spanish fluent speaker. And so I've heard a lot of great things, and of course there's always challenges wherever we are, but it's a wonderful ministry, and it emphasizes the internationality that our Superioress General is encouraging for us. She wants us to be open to wherever the Spirit is leading us, and this is where our province has led us to open our houses to where the needs are, which is the people at the border. The need is great, and we have sisters who can do it, and what a beautiful way to grow our province with the sisters in Mexico, because they are leading us to where they are, and because we can be limited in language, but like we were just sharing before, we don't need to speak it, we just need to show it. We show our love, our charity, and our authentic selves to those that are marginalized, so they can find themselves as well, and find that they are worthy of finding a place to call home as well. And the people in the border, that's all they're looking for. They're looking for a new start. They're looking to bring their families, but we have to we're there to provide them for the basic needs of food and clothing, and to lead them so they can find that for themselves too. So
there's so much in our history that tells us to be bold and audacious, adventurous. And so I think in the whole story that we've just talked about, and what I see is such a wonderful future for all of our provinces in the Americas, and certainly in the United States, is that our youngest members are so open to that sense that boundaries are there for the reasons they need to be there, to keep some administrative kinds of energy around, but also that those boundaries can be opened not necessarily crossed, but opened so that the needs of the poor are being served, right? And that we don't do it alone. We do it with other religious communities. We do it with community members.
Yes.
So everything you've talked about gives me such hope, because in your 6 months of being on mission, you've kind of been living in that sense of hope and that sense of openness. That's, to me, a really exciting thing. So I just appreciate your yes in your vocation, and the way in which you just want to live it in a way that really brings glory to God, but certainly comfort to those who are vulnerable. So I really appreciate it. Is there anything you would like us to pray for? Is there anything that's heavy on your heart, maybe, that our listeners could join you in prayer for?
Yeah, let's pray for openness and awareness of those around us. Sometimes we can easily just pass by and not notice the beauty, but also not notice what the Spirit is calling us to, because we're so attentive into our own thing. And then, of course, hope for peace, hope for things to get better, but also hope when there's a lot of despair and like no results. There are some of our members who can feel like there's no hope for them. There's no hope that they're gonna find what they would desire, would make things better. But the hope is that things will get better at some point, or because the system is broken. And the system is broken. There's no doubt about that. But the hope is that there is someone out there. There are people that are trying to make things better, that are trying to make things equitable, so everyone can have a chance to live that dignity. And lastly, to pray for each and every one of us to remember that we're all children of God. We all have that value, and and that never goes away. Worthiness, people can tell you things here or there, like you need to do this, you need to do that, but it doesn't diminish. Like, even if you feel worthless, you're still a child of God, and you are worth it. Like, you're worth more than 2 sparrows, like this says in the Bible, because it doesn't, to him we are worth everything. That's what Jesus wanted to evangelize to us, that we are his children, and so we are people with dignity. And I want to make sure that the people that I serve know that, and if they don't know it, then I need to show it to them, because then I'm not done. Like, I want to make sure that our members know that they are children of God.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to talk with me today. And I know that everyone who's listening is not just impressed, but is that you are a sign of that hope that you ask us to pray about. It's a great honor for me to know that you are in the community with us, and that I call you sister, and that I take great pleasure. And I thank God for that. And so thank you. Thank you for taking the time and continuing the good work of the Lord. In the name of Vincent and Louise, keep at it.
Amen. Thank you.